Welcome back to another episode of Keoni Chats. So I wanted to thank every one of you, the listeners or the fans or anyone that kind of keeps track of the show as I did take some time away and it kind of just lined up perfectly where, after I got Ben Creighton's episode release about maybe 2-3 weeks before Thanksgiving, and then, the 2-week cycle of like marketing the episode ran through, and then when it came time for this episode, EJ Akins to become released or make its way to the mainstream, I was feeling a lot of things, and I was thinking a lot of things. And what's ironic is that this interview with EJ, it was what pushed me to take the hiatus. I was kind of on the fence. I was like, it's been a great feeling to get people's episodes out there, try to push the notifications about it, but then there's always something nagging like in the back of my head. And then talking with EJ, hearing about how he stays connected with those people that he made friends with back in middle school and high school, that also, I think that was what kind of just threw me for a giant loop in terms of I wanted to also stay connected. That was in the beginning. That was also my thought with this show, is that I want to stay connected with these people following the episode release, because I want to show I'm not just jumping to their lives just to get their story and then dip out again. So I wasn't doing that. And so talking with EJ, he's a very wise man. He has a lot of philosophies that you could easily jump on board with. And when you listen to this episode or watch this episode, you will learn about those as well. It was what made me think about my priorities, and that's what led to the hiatus. So I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be in front of this camera, giving an intro, talking about EJ and talking about the Keoni Chats podcast, how it's back, and how I have some other ideas as far as, keep going with the forward, but also remember the past. So I'll leave that at that, because it's still very much a work in progress, that idea. So, yeah, EJ, a short time with him in high school and also on the football field. And, he was always always smiling, always having a laugh, always enjoying himself. So we talk about that. And then we also talk about just everything I can think of, because I knew just when I talked about how he stays connected is not enough. This man, he's an aspiring actor. He got some shots. And then we talked about also Black Lives Matter movement and the viewing of it from the outside perspective, as someone who lived in Oregon for a while, moving outside of Oregon and then seeing Oregon on the news for that reason. So that's some of the few things we talked about. And so again, I'm very happy, very humble to be back in front of this camera. But if you would like to stay in the loop whenever episodes are released, which they are back to being released on a bi-weekly schedule. Again, thank you to all those that stick with the show. You can follow the show on social media. So that'll be at KCmedia13 on Instagram and Twitter. And then Conlu K Media on the Facebooks. I don't know why I said it like that. So in the lower right hand, as you're watching, if you're watching, you'll see a little tag for keoniconlu.com. That is my website, and that is where episode or the video version of this episode can be found, as well as an audio version. So no one else is going to market it besides me. So I thought might as well have it be looking at you for about an hour and a half, maybe. So yes, and check it out. That's also where all my other creative content can be found. And I also do a blog series here or there about either the NFL mock drafts or DC Animated Universe review series. So check those out. That can be found on the website. And then, yeah, it's something I'm always. Yeah, when growing up, I felt like I had an interior designer like mindset, because I like to move my things around in my room every so often. So, having this website where I can experiment and try out new ways to display the content I'm creating, it's a lot of fun. So keep up with that. So, however you are checking out this episode on whichever platform you prefer, or if you are watching on YouTube, I hope you enjoy my chat with EJ Akins. originally, you know, EJ or Eldridge Hackins, we were supposed to have our interview the day before, but we had to move it to the following day because it was your mother's birthday. How crazy is it to think? Because I saw your Facebook story. Um, I'll let you disclose the age, but from what the Facebook story I saw, she was very much you. But you got the smiles, you got the dancing, the liveliness. What was it like to celebrate your mom's birthday after a couple of years of having to do it virtually? You had to celebrate in person, I should say.
Well, it was a blessing. We surprised her with a huge party. She's originally from East St. Louis, and so she just moved to Chicago about 2 weeks ago. So I flew into Chicago. We made an excuse to drive to East St. Louis, and boom, she was surprised. All her aunties, friends from middle school, all the sorts were there. Tears to her eyes. It was a blessing. It was truly a blessing. It's great. Me and my mom were only 20 years apart in age, so like we kind of grew up together. She kind of had an accident in college, and I joined the world. And so, yeah, it's just real cool to see her life grow into where it is, and now she has a new job. She is the director of communications for DePaul basketball. Big title, big boss position, big boss everything. I'm just so proud of her, and now we bring it in with a 50th birthday. It's a blessing, man. It's a blessing.
So how did that kind of planning come about? Who was the head coordinator, I guess, but a little peek behind the
Hey,
curtain on
I
how we
can't, I
got this.
can't, I can't take no credit whatsoever. I just bought a ticket and jumped in the car. My stepdad, he he stepped up big time. He made some phone calls, made some serious text messages, got people in. Aunties involved, and everyone was doing under the radar. He, funded everything and made it happen. Bought my mom a beautiful new X5 BMW for her
Yeah.
birthday too. We can feel that
Oh,
now. So yeah, it's life is good. Everybody's doing good.
yeah. I mean, we don't have to touch base on this if you don't want to, but your biological dad, was he in your life early on? What was his enrollment in your life?
So the story goes, boy meets girl in college. Um, they fall in love. They have kids. My father was a party animal. He had a fast life,
Mhm.
chasing some crazy things, which got him in some trouble. So he was absent from my life for a good chunk. Around 13, which is ironic, I moved to Oregon right when he kind of got back in my life. We lived in Long Beach before that. And his family's originally from LA. So long story short, he was in and out. I went to college and then I moved to LA, and now we're really getting to know each other on better terms. And our relationship is growing. So unfortunately, he was not there, present, throwing softball or baseball with me, and all that type of stuff. But where I'm at now, it's okay, and we're good. So
Now my dad, he was in my life, but also to that extent, also he was. There was a period when I was still, I think, yeah, in high school, probably junior, senior, where like he did have his party phase because there were some younger kids. I mean, why did I say younger kids? I'm 30, so it's kind of weird to say, but there were some younger people that at the time for me felt like I was old, obviously, but they were like probably like 25-ish. They moved to the house next door, and then I would just see him over there, or I would hear about him over there, or because they had the loud parties. We wouldn't call any cops on them because obviously I don't think we cared, but I just remember seeing him going to the house over to go party with them. That did kind of deter me from being too much of a party animal when I got into college because a lot of things, like at least my dad did, still stuck with me. I was like, I don't, 'cause, we want to usually be better than our parents.
of
So,
course.
what was some of those things that you remember seeing your dad doing or hearing your dad doing that when you got to that point in your life? Also, you just kind of like said, I'm going to think otherwise."
So I guess he was kind of absent for a lot of it. Like I said, I really didn't live around him, so it wasn't really I saw him
Mm.
do too much. But you definitely learn from examples from stories he told you in the past of situations he got into. And funny, as a child, a lot of the stories he told me were kind of cool. He's telling me about how he's living this glamorous life and, money and lifestyle and doing all these things. And I'm like, wow. And then, running from police and kind of like a Wild Wild West type of story. And so as a kid, I was kind of infatuated with it. But I always knew the effects that has on family, the burden that put on his father, his parents, his child, me, his other, our stepbrother, or half brother as well, Simeon. And so the effect. And so I just never wanted to chase wealth in the ways he did. You know what I mean? And so I definitely just tried to stick by the book. And when I did get confronted with some adversities in my life with the police and stuff like that, I made a decision really quick. Like, this is not what I want to do. I do not want to go down this road. And and so, like my grandpa always said, you can learn a lot from anyone, even if I have to bum down the street. That's what not to do.
Mm.
And so, just through his stories and just hearing them and just kind of, seeing the effect, I just know that's not what I want to get myself into.
Yeah. And so you moved down to LA sometime post high school, kind of post college.
So yeah, I was so back to the original story. Boy meets girl in college.
Yeah.
Mom is really from, we had the party out in East St. Louis. She's really from East St. Louis. So we actually moved to East St. Louis for 5 years. Moved back to Long Beach. Moved to Oregon. Went to Arizona State, and then from Arizona State, I went back to LA. And so
Mm.
that's where I'm currently at. I'm in LA. I love it out there.
Okay.
Sunshine City. You know?
So I LA is such a big city, and a lot of like TV shows, films have been shot there. But for you to go there, and then I don't know how this kind of transitions, but you going down to LA after college, when you saw Oregon go through what it went through back in the Black Lives Matter movement, 2020 of February, uh, what were some of your thoughts? Because you did grow up there for a little bit. That's got to have
So,
some thoughts. Have it?
so me as a black male, and I aspiring leader. I don't know. You can call me a leader, but that's what I'm aspiring to be. Um, Impactful leader. I want to make some change.
Hmm.
And being that I am, I was confused in one way because I grew up in Portland. So I was like, who are these people going so ham
Hmm.
for Black Lives Matter? Because when I lived in Portland, it was not that many people going ham for me and for my Black life and for my people. So it was confusing. It was very political. I thought it was strange. I thought it was a lot of hidden agendas.
Hmm.
I mean, if you look at the ethnic makeup of Portland, it is primarily Caucasian, and they were the biggest city in the United States, making the most noise for Black Lives Matter and social equity. And they have a huge population of Klan members. Like, I know the history of Portland, like sundown laws. Like, the Portland history is kind of, you raise an eye to it. I mean, you're only going 50, 60 years back.
Hmm.
Some of the laws they had against Black people owning property and things of that nature. I was confused, but the whole movement, I was for it. The whole thing with me, and it's funny that you bring this up with the social movement. I'm not a headline guy. I'm
Hmm.
not following headline news and because people are saying stuff because they're doing stuff. I want results oriented. I
Hmm.
want change to actually happen. And a lot of people say conversation makes change, but we've been having the same conversation for 600 years, and change makes change. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
just think that action, putting time, not just tweets, not just words, putting efforts and energies behind certain things.
Hmm.
That's how, and people are doing that. It got soldiers on the street. Don't get me wrong, but as far as that, the whole movement, I think a lot of it was just political. I think it was a lot of political mumbo jumbo going on,
Hmm.
and unfortunately, a lot of people's lives got taken. But people's lives been getting taken for, like I said, 600 years. Because of the color of their skin. You were out there. How was
Choice.
it? Were you
I,
out there?
I wasn't out. I got invited to go out, but at
Okay.
that time, like I was still trying to deal with my anxieties and all the
Yeah.
kind of fears that my mom was very much a chain thinker, meaning like if this happens, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen. So that really sparked high in my mind. And actually, the gentleman that invited me to go ahead on my show, and I brought it up to him. I was like, I'm sorry I couldn't go because so many things just like prevent me from like pushing myself out that door. He's like, no, no, it's actually a good thing that he didn't go because it got crazy. I was like,
The footage was wild.
oh, jeez.
The
Oh,
footage was it
jeez.
was war.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, I mean, granted, like we would have gone like during the day and that all that stuff, the footage would seem to be at night,
Yeah.
but it was still like, whoo,
Uh,
man. And like that kind of response, I feel like that kind of response, you would have seen it from like bigger cities like LA or bigger cities like New York or even Chicago, because they would
It
have
was
the
looting. It was
numbers.
looting and some
Yeah.
crazy. There's some riots and stuff like that. So I lived in Long Beach at the time, and I lived right there on Ocean Street, and so there's a lot of protests, a lot of.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I didn't agree with a lot of it. Like I understood it,
Mm-hmm.
and I get cause and effect, but as a result oriented, I don't know if any results came out of that. Like I
Yeah.
don't know what you know what I mean. I don't know like what how much better are we because of all that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess some people got some shoes, and I know the attention was brought to certain households that I guess they didn't have that conversation previously, so that could be a plus.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's tough. I mean, like I feel like I could not ask you. It's you're someone that grew up in the town. You had it's the outside perspective looking in. It's definitely interesting to see because I remember I think it was just when Trump got elected. I was working at Nike Portland in downtown, and then you just see like, oh, we're on CNN. Am I proud of that? Am I like my city's in Portland or in CNN?
Mm.
Huh? And I'm still stuck in downtown because I can't take the Max home. So it's yeah, basically that cause is affecting me to get home. So I mean, it's just kind of crazy thing about.
We gotta have big conversations. In my family, I'll give you some background. My family's been around in social change and civil rights since
Mm-hmm.
before my time. My grandfather walked side by side with Martin Luther King and actually held on to the original speech. He said he tapped Martin Luther King on the shoulder and said, "Hey, can I get a copy of your speech?" Martin Luther King turned around and gave him the actual speech. That's been around my family. So
Whoa.
we've had numerous encounters and just experiences fighting and conversations around it, talking with very influential people, and it's a very deep and complex thing which a lot of rage is behind, and it's not going to be solved overnight.
Mm-hmm.
there's it's just there's no answer, but I get it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to say. I get it, but
So one last thing, quick, and then we'll because there's other things I want to ask you about. So your grandfather walking side by side and getting that
Mhm.
copy. What other stories has he told you about just the fact that he was that close to Martin Luther King?
Well, the King story was great. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? How that happened. From which there's interviews out there. My grandfather George Raveling, he's Googleable. But just his stories about how when he was coaching at Villanova or playing and having to go to segregated cities and not being able to be in hotels, and even you making all this money for the school still as basketball programs bring in, and as his times evolved and him coaching at Washington State and having to deal with things up north, and it's just till today being an 82-year-old man having to deal with certain things. It's the same story and the same conversation, the same headline news
Mm-hmm.
repeat. You know what I mean? Um, and it's kind of irritating, as a black man in America, just to happen to witness it. You know what I mean? And then hear about the history and witness it again. It's like
Mm-hmm.
God. But I guess that's why people were rioting and going crazy. Like I said, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
That same friend actually he moved down to Texas because
Mhm.
I remember just seeing his Facebook post saying that gun violence in Portland has escalated extremely high where he's like uncomfortable being in Portland, which again thinking back like 10-15 years ago when we
I
were
didn't live in
kids
that
and
Portland. Yeah.
yeah it's like I just grew up thinking, hey, there's a nice gentleman with a flannel and a big beard. Oh, cool. There's a person serving coffee on the side of the road or whatever that could be. So, yeah. And then I tend to look at Oregon Live just like during work, just to kind of scan the news, see what's going on. Yeah. And then I see like the mass amount of numbers of casualties. And I'm just like, I worked with one of the casualties because Well, it was a very short stint because she left as I was starting to work at Nike, so I didn't really know her too well, but still, like I knew her, and I was just like, oh wow, wow. I mean I knew what happened, but just to like see it, just see more details about it, I was just like, whew, that's uh that's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, gun violence is not cool. I mean, none of the crimes is cool, but that's poverty and that's and ignorance. Those two things side by side, you know. And it's like zero sum theory, you
Hmm.
know. People we're competitive, and people feel as if other people gaining is them losing for some
Hmm.
reason, and so they feel like I have to protect what I have, so you can't gain. In a weird way, it's like
For instance, you ever been cut off in traffic?
Yeah.
And like it's like why are you rushing to go nowhere?
Hmm.
Like we're all stuck in traffic. You know what I mean? Like,
Not
but you
not
feel as
some
if
secret lane is going to open up for you where you can just zoom on by.
but you're not gonna let me get like you refuse to let me get in front of you. Because
Hmm.
you it's a loss for you. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what society is right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you see that in social impacts, and you see that in the conversations we're having today, and why the right is so strong and the left is so strong, and people are have such high emotions behind their arguments.
I feel like they can't give up nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Mhm.
there was a line in your, I believe, it was your about me
Hmm.
part of your website, which
Hmm.
will be linked in the description below. But you said you gave me a excuse me. Yeah, when you get into that old age where you have to clear your throat every like
Yeah, you're
five
not
ten
old.
minutes.
Calm down.
But you had a line that said you're open to talk and engage. That's huge. I feel, and I mean, just the fact that you're willing to be open and talk about your biological dad, uh, and it kind of stems from your studies. But like, yeah, I've always noticed that about you, where you are very engaging. You talk with everyone, always the biggest smile on your face every time I saw you. And where would you say like that character trait came from? Like how was it blossomed? What was your mom's kind of
Yeah,
method to kind of help you flourish? And
I can't lie to you. Genetics is crazy. My dad is very charismatic, and so I get a lot of it from him. I think
oh.
just being in kind of I moved around a lot growing up. Like I said, sorry, born in San Diego, Illinois, Long Beach, Portland, Arizona State, back to LA. And so I felt I had to not invent myself, but recreate social relationships each time. And I felt that gave me a skill. It's kind of like anything you do repetitive, you kind of get good at it. Like you interviewing, you're
Mhm.
gonna get good at talking to people. So I kind of got good at, meeting people and introducing myself. And I felt like life is a lot easier being liked. And so
Mhm.
my defense mechanism on my insecurities, on my shyness, on all that was to make people smile. And so I always try to be goofy. I always try to be the light. I always try to be, graceful and helping and make people happy and smile. And so I think that kind of carried, even when I grew out of some of those insecurities, that skill is still stuck with me. And so, hey, you get EJ. But I'm
Insecure.
always like this. Don't get it wrong.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So when you say your insecurities, what do you feel your? Because I'm insecure about sometimes maybe some of my word choices when it comes to my interactions with like a coworker, for example. It's like we're having fun. Sometimes I take it like one random word that kind of like awkwardly ends the interaction. I'm like,
Mhm.
why did I say that? Maybe that's also overthinking, but it's like insecurities also could be like body body image for like
I
men. It's
think for me, I've turned insecurities into. I'm reading this book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. It's by Mark Manson, and it basically I'm only on the first three chapters, but basically starting off like you need to care less about stuff.
mm,
Caring more about things is not the key to happiness. Actually, caring less about crap is the key to happiness. And I think sometimes my insecurity when I was younger, I cared so much what other people thought, or even what I thought about myself, that I projected and I overthought. And I felt like I was in these situations and people were feeling like this on me. And people never even said certain things. You know what I
mm,
mean? I just created these scenarios in my head because I cared too much. And so I think I stopped caring and I stopped like just being who I am and focusing on who I am and just becoming a better me. That's along what other people think and the insecurities. But don't get me wrong, everyone's still insecure. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I think I mentioned to you, like I have a kind of an aspiring acting career, and so anything you start something new at, you're ultimately insecure at that. You know what I mean? Because like, oh, am I good? Am I not good? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But confidence is the key. You got it's something you build. You know, so
Yeah, I mean, I think that's spot on. It's just, just trying to, because yeah, I'm like that too, where like I feel like I need to make some jokes because I see other people making jokes like, oh, I could be funny too. I could be like that guy. I can go be part of that conversation over there. But then I realize I don't need to be. I could just be a bystander. I could just listen, have fun, interact. And because I know trying to be the center of attention or just trying to like always be the funny guy or always be smiling, you said this, you're not like that all the time. It's exhausting to be like that most of the time.
it's a front.
Yeah.
That's essentially, you know what I'm saying? You're trying to be something. And that's the key. You don't have to walk over there and join the crowd. Matter
Mhm.
of fact, you don't have to do nothing. Do what you want to do. But if you see someone over there and they look like they're having a good time, go say what's up. Like, hey, y'all having a good time. What's popping? I want to crack some jokes with you. You know what I mean? If not, then I'll fuck it. I'll go do what I'm doing. You
Yeah.
know?
What do you do when you're not trying to, is the opposite side of EJ or Eldridge? That you got this fun, smiling, always want to be engaging.
Mhm.
How is the other side?
Look, man, Instagram is a highlight reel, and that is not real life for anybody. Everyone goes through their darks. Everyone goes through their demons. Everyone has to fight, and I'm constantly fighting my demons. I'm constantly praying to be better and to overcome, all the negativity and darkness and adversity that pops my way. But what I usually do, or how I am do that, I mean, I try to stay around family and loved ones as
Mhm.
much as possible. Um, I've gotten out of like depressions and dark thoughts by working hard, upping my work ethic. You know what I mean? Kind of taking a couple days to myself, chilling back and writing down what's important to me and why is it important. What's the ultimate goal? Realizing this year is 1 year. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
There's gonna be, hopefully, if I pray, I get to, like my mom, 50 to see 50 years, and then hopefully I pray I get to see another 50 more.
Mhm.
Technology and everything like that. But yeah, you got to stay looking at the bigger picture. It's hard though, because when you're in the funk, you're in the funk, and you got
Yeah.
tunnel vision. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
once you're able to look at the bigger picture, you realize, all right, let me just keep pushing.
Yeah. And so some of those dark thoughts, I mean, you don't have to go into in depth if you don't want to, but I mean, I know for myself, when I was going through, before we start recording, I just kind of give you a glimpse overview of like how I got to hear.
Mhm.
Some of those dark thoughts I had were just like, I don't, my self-worth was super low and my self-confidence was super low. And what's funny is like, Facebook has their memories, every so often. And I'm just like, wow, I don't know why I posted that, but I had a lot of fun posting it. But it's like, I guess I just had the fake fun confidence. But yeah, that was some of my dark thoughts I had when I was dealing with that heart breakup. Is just like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? And I'm just gonna go sit on the couch or maybe just have a beer. Like I didn't get too hard into drinking when I felt very sad, but it was not a fun path to go on. So, or how did you just kind of work through your dark thoughts? What were some of those dark thoughts? Again, you don't have to go too in depth if you don't want to, but what were some of them?
The reference in the book I'm reading, Mark Manson mentioned the feedback loop from hell.
Hmm.
And I think it's basically when you look in the mirror every day and you say, I'm pretty, or I'm strong, I'm strong, I'm strong. And then you realize you're not strong because you're telling yourself you're strong. And so I guess for me, I want so much and I dream so big. And like I actually beat myself up because I feel like I need to accomplish more in a day. I need to be more and better at a faster rate. And sometimes when things happen, or I get in financial troubles, or if socially I'm having some disconnects with my friends, I would beat myself up like, It's because you're not better. It's because you're not doing this. Because you're not on it every day, waking up at 5 a.m. working out because this, and this. And you getting the feedback loop from hell. You keep feeding yourself these negative thoughts and then, blaming yourself and self-blame. And then like, that's why no one likes me. And everyone loves you. You know what I mean? Like, but in your world, it could be whatever. And those are the funks, those are the demons. Those are what I was speaking about earlier. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Okay.
And then you just gotta, for me at least, those are what personally I've been through. I take a deep breath and say, you know what? All right, what am I really doing? Like, what life do I really want to build? All right, let me fix this relationship. Let me call this person and say, I probably was wrong, or maybe you was wrong, but I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Like going forward, I want to, X, Y, and Z.
And that's very big of you also to just, kind of, I mean, it's also, you want to kind of fix, because at the end of the day, the best relationship you have is with yourself.
Yes.
Because if you aren't happy with yourself, then you're going to be tossing and turning all night, and then you're just going to be worse off.
You can't have the void of incompleteness within yourself, because then you can never have true connection and meaning with others. Because like, how can you love someone else? You can't love yourself. I mean, that's a cheesy quote, but that's the truth.
Yeah. So I mean, you touched on reaching out to friends, fixing relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of crazy that you still have friends from middle school and high school.
Yeah.
Because I mean, granted,
same friends.
I was looking at, like, even randomly, I mean, you go through that Facebook friend purge kind of, and I'm just like, well, I haven't talked to this person in like forever, and yet I still would not mind catching up. How do you maintain that kind of relationship with those that you met like, I don't 10, 15 years ago?
So, like for me, I call it the crew. And it's consists of people I met from 7th and 8th grade, and we just had a bond and connection that's unbreakable. We've been to each other's weddings. We've been to each other's graduations. We've been to each other's basketball games. When we were in college, football games, support each other throughout everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because our web is so tight, like I know these two friends have talk every other day. And I know these two friends talk every day. And I talk to them every occasionally.
Yeah.
But we're all, we all hop around. And I think because of that, it just kind of kept us together. We're just glued together, and we're not friends no more. We're brothers. Like, they're going to my funeral, I'm going to their funeral. Like, that's just
I mean, plus, using, James Arthur as an example, I believe you went to his wedding, which was, I think, maybe a couple months ago. Or
I went to James's wedding. He went to my graduation. Like, James's mom is like my stepmom. His little brother is like my little brother. Bro, I love his sister. I love his nephew. I love his whole family. I mean, from Devon to Jimmy to Chris Hoffman to Anthony Torgman. I mean, these are all Sunset guys. So, these are my people. I literally was FaceTiming Chris and his wife yesterday. He just had a newborn, brought baby Frankie in the world. She's beautiful. Yeah. Frankie Don Hoffman, Sadie Martell, all the same people. I just saw like, I can go on and on. Like it's funny because I haven't really lost too many people. I can like when I say we were friends and we kicked it, like all the same people I'm around, and I love that. And I think that is one. It means I probably have some attachment issues because I'm not letting them go. They probably want to leave me a few times. But I'm like, nah, we're friends forever.
Yeah.
You're stuck with me.
I think that's so rare also because I have these connections, but it's like, let's say we're coworkers, we hang out, we're super cool, and then once that job's done, it's like it's kind of hard to keep up with them.
But that's not, those are relationships and acquaintances, which can equate to friendship. Yeah. But that's not that's when I use the word friendship, I don't want to be harsh, but it's love. Like I love my friends. You know what I mean? And if I don't love you, if I never had love for you, then we probably don't connect. And there's people who I have love for that we don't talk to every single day.
Yeah.
And I was just in Portland a couple months ago, and I ran into my boy Rob. I've been friends with Rob since 7th grade. You know what I mean? But we talk every couple months. You know what I mean? Just, hey, how you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah. That check-in.
And that's it. But yeah, it's important, man. It's important to keep contact with people, and if not, then at the end of the day, they didn't mean that much to you.
Yeah, and what's funny is that, you know, I guess not funny, it's just like kind of a connecting thought. It's just that, you know, my partner, you know, we're working on just building out her web because you know she transplanted from she was in Eugene, and then she went to school in Washington, and then now she's in Portland. Now it's, you know, as an adult, if you don't have, you know, it's especially during COVID era, it's hard to make friends, it's hard to meet people. So I was just telling that same thing to her. It's like, you know, you made a great connection with this friend at work, she's leaving, you have her phone number, she's not dead. she's she's still there. You just need
Hey,
to just
how you
reach out.
doing? How you been? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Thought about you.
yeah, yeah. And granted, our lives can get hectic. I mean, with everything you're doing and everything that, you know, have to balance, it's easy to just look up and be like, holy crap, it's been like 6 months
But
since I said hi to
what
you.
is love? What is love if not sacrifice?
That's true.
If you're not gonna sacrifice your time, which everyone has for free, you know what I'm saying? A little energy and everything else, which is so important, a job, paying bills, like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
we're humans, we need them connections. That's the most important. Like at the end of the day, the goal is love. And so if I build the way I looked at it, if I build all these relationships of love, of purity, of genuineness, then my family grows. You know what I mean? And then like I personally think I live a more fulfilled life because I don't want to just be a robot surviving, living in a system. You know what I mean? Too busy for my friends and my family and for, you know, my loved ones.
yeah.
And so if I deem you a loved one, then at least a birthday, like once a
Yeah.
year, birthday at least.
Yeah,
You know?
that's the bare that's the bare minimum, man.
At least, like, oh, you like, you know, like I got a life too. I can't hit you up every few months, but
Yeah, yeah.
hopefully you come in my mind once or twice a year, and I want to hit you up then.
You know, her and I both have that same kind of mindset of like overthinking this. So, you know, it was back in high school where I was just like, okay, I want to see if this person would text me back if I don't text them back. And then next thing you know, that friendship is gone. So it's just kind of mirroring your point of like there was just that mutual acquaintances.
You gotta read the book, man. The subtle art. Don't give up. Don't fuck them.
You can curse on this. You can curse on this.
You know, just...
So so you talked about social media earlier. Yeah, it can be a vicious loop, but you know, I remember when I first reached out to you, I asked you like, so I see you're taking some modeling type photos, and you know, if for people that need to check it out. And some of this insecurity is also creeping in because when I see not just my friends or just like, let's say on the Instagram feed where you see like, you know, those fitness people, you know, doing poster workouts, like shred 6 abs. I kind of sometimes put myself in their thought in their shoes. I'm like, if I were to post that same thing, how would I feel? Or like if I were in that same photo, how would I feel? And I'm just like, nope, nope. How did you build up that kind of confidence to take a photo of yourself in the beach with an open button down shirt?
Well, I work out, and so the truth is, you build a lot of confidence by working out, and not just how you physically look, but how you feel, and that's the biggest confidence builder. Because you feel better, and so when you feel better, you're able to do more. You know what I mean? And two, I had a really good creative director.
Yeah, there you go.
She gassed me up pretty well. You know what I mean? She gassed me up pretty well. And so that helps a lot when you have someone in your corner, good people around you. You know what I'm saying? Gassing you up. But I wasn't always that confident. I did a shoot earlier this year. I went to the desert and had leather pants. I never wore leather pants before. I had my shirt off, had like a cowboy hat, and you know, a lot of my friends gave me a lot of flack for that. But also there's a lot of random people who hit me up like, man, that was dope. Like you look good. Like, wow, like, who you modeling for? Like, are you modeling? Like, who shot your photos? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was my camera. My homegirl, like, you know what I'm saying? She shot it for me. Like, we knocked it out. But it wasn't, I don't know. So I guess I can't say that I built up a crazy amount of confidence to do that. I've always wanted to be into modeling. I've always wanted to be into acting. So my thing was take enough pictures and get a portfolio and then go get an agent. But then I just started taking pictures and never pursued the agent portfolio thing because my entrepreneur other things kind of took off and just kind of lost interest in actually modeling.
Sure. So I remember what I was mentioning. So funny thing is like I have this notebook. I've been writing notes. I'm like, okay, I want to make sure we get down to that. So real quick tangent going back to what you just said about your friendships, acquaintances. Have you had that same conversation with your mom as far as like how you view friendships and all of that? Because I'm sure even as like a parent, she like if you don't have like a designated like group to go hang out with, that's gotta be hard for her also to make friends.
Well, luckily for my mom, she's like me, and
Mm.
she had the same group of friends from middle school, from
Oh,
7th, 8th grade. She's made friends, and well, since she had me, she actually moved to Oregon and left all her friends, which they moved different states. That's what happens. You get old, you have families and stuff like that. But they still talk. They're still really, really tight. Like, and I've been around them recently, all of the girls, and like,
Mhm.
oh, EJ and like my auntie, basically. You know what I mean? Because I
Yeah.
grew up with them, and so I kind of modeled that out after my mom too. Like, just keep good people around.
Yeah. Okay. That I can see how that, along with, her smile, her liveliness. That's also what you got from her. Just staying keeping those connections strong.
I am a mama's boy. It's crazy because if you saw my dad and me, you would say, God, you look just like your dad. And if you talk, so you talk like him, you walk like him. And then people say the exact same thing with my mom. So it's funny how two people I can literally be 50% of two humans and in so many ways.
Yeah, because I've noticed a lot of like I remember at one point in college, it was college, maybe college or something else, but I was joking with my brother because obviously him and I both have that same kind of humor of like, oh, you're gonna end up like your dad who was always partying. I mean, it's not the funnest thing to joke around, but like we make it a fun joking thing. But there was one time where I messaged him. I was like, I did this thing. I can't remember the situation, but I was like, I remember I did this thing. Maybe dad was right. Maybe he had this one thing right. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, I've noticed like there are parts of myself like when I was younger, I was like parts of myself like I was like I don't want to be like my mom. I don't want to be like my dad. It's like
Yeah.
I want to be me. Next thing you know, it's like oh shit, I got some of my dad. I got some of my mom here. So
Take the best of both. That's what I'm
yeah.
trying to do. Because there's some parts of my dad that and my mom, both of them, I don't want no pizza of. Mm-mm. I don't want none of that. But there's some parts of them that are please, like,
Mhm.
give me all the knowledge, the abundance of all that characteristic, because they
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah. Okay. So now jumping forward to your modeling and kind of turning the book.
Yeah.
So you went to not just from Sunset, you went to Benson Polytech studying broadcasting,
Yeah.
a profession that you have to be in front of a camera for, or have at least a voice that can be recorded. And
Mhm.
then also you had some notes that you were selling Oregonian newspaper subscriptions as a seventh grader. So you're getting all these little bits and experiences to put yourself in the spot where you can be, in attention. You got some cameras, got some other things like that. Why broadcasting? Why journalism?
It's crazy. Isn't it crazy how things add up? Because you never know, me going door to door in 7th grade will lead to, like you said, we developing skills.
Mhm.
And fast forward to me in 11th grade, I went to Benson Polytech. Shout out to Benson and all my Benson homies. Um, I had to major in a subject, and they had construction, communications. They had a couple other things, and radio broadcasting. Cool. I've always wanted to be a star. As a child, I always thought I was a star. I have that personality, so I'm like, cool. I get to come up with scripts, be on broadcasting. I was on the radio, I think 1450 KBPS, Kid Rhythm Radio.
That's locked in your brain forever.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and Kid Rhythm Radio, Kid and Blues. I had the whole pitch and everything down. I had my radio voice. I was really trying to be, get into it. I don't know. Those skills are what helped me into what I'm currently doing now.
Mhm.
Literally, like that's how life works. Every lesson learned is a building block, as it's supposed to be. um so you can get to that next step.
Yeah, and so with you trying to make your approach your journey into acting, do you also have those moments you just kind of reflect back and think about that time at Benson Polytech, or you think about all those like beginnings of your interactions with journalism and how you have to be an outgoing person to be a journalist?
So I was in journalism my senior year, numerous newspaper articles. I look back to, like you said before, the beginnings, and I think about how I felt in those emotions. Sometimes I even think about basketball, and I think about before the game, those nerves. And so now I get those same feelings um, of prepping for a story. I get those same feelings before a game in acting and into other things that now I'm doing into entrepreneurship. Like when I'm about to give a pitch or I'm about to press that publish button on my next ad campaign. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like a deja vu, and I think it means that I'm on the right track. I think those feelings are good. I mean, it's like a little anxiety, it's a little excitement, it's a little nervousness, but it's like it's a building, it's a new, and I love that. I love that beginning feeling, and so I actually seek that because that means I'm learning consistently. I'm putting myself in new situations and I'm getting new experience around things that I love to do. So it's fun. It's a fun feeling.
Yeah, it's definitely an adrenaline shot because I remember when I was working for the student newspaper down in let's call Lake Community College down in Eugene, and I didn't get anything published because by the time I joined, they were just like about to go to print. But I got my name in the staff. I got printed on the under the staff for sports, and I was just like, "Well, I'm hooked now. This is awesome. That's me." So from there, I was just obviously able to bring it into all these different levels of like broadcasting with University of Oregon and now this podcast. So yeah, I definitely I felt that. I felt that rush, and it's fun. It's a good kind of rush.
And then once you get your next step, that big next show, you're gonna feel that again. You're like, all right, this is good.
Yeah.
I know this is the beginning again. This is like where I'm supposed to be. Like this is like it's the start.
Yeah.
Let's get it going. Let's get it cracking. Game time. You know
It's
what I mean?
it's always the begin. Like what's funny with like everything else in life, it's like the beginning process is the most like anxiety ridden part of it all. But then it's usually now with the show, it's like I think it's the I would say the beginning is the most exciting part when it comes to like let's say I'm about to post your show. It's like okay, I'm beginning the process of like okay, I'm gonna start working on it. This is awesome because usually towards like the middle end of it, I'm just like I'm exhausted. This thing I've seen this interview for like 2 weeks and doing like 30 minutes at a time.
When it's
But
still going fresh, you like it more.
yeah. But then with anything else, I'm just like
Yeah.
it's a new thing. I'm like oh god, it's gonna be weird. I'm nervous, but let's do it.
Well, it's you already have the template down for this.
Mhm.
So this is exciting because it's new. And then editing, like I trust me, I've done video editing and all that stuff. Especially when I was in the music. You listen to a song a million times, you watch a video a million times when I editing music videos, it gets repetitive. Like, God, like, do I really even like this song anymore? I've heard, I know the answers to all these questions, like from your perspective. Like,
yeah. Okay, music, because I was trying to find more of your music. I only saw what was on YouTube under your
Oh
YouTube
wow.
page that was linked on your website.
Mhm.
And then I did see you had a little bit of a, I think, I got like maybe a 2 minute video or something like that, where you're just standing on top of, you got this gorgeous sky view, city view, and you're just throwing down rhymes. You're just,
Yeah.
that's it. That's it.
Yeah,
There's
free
no,
rock.
you just and then there was a little dip, and then you're like, okay, well, the guy who's holding the camera is like, okay, let's do this other one. So
Yeah. Shout out to Brandon, aka Young Sinclair, my guy from college. He was the one behind the camera. Yeah, so music for me has always been kind of therapeutic.
Mhm.
I guess before I really knew how to look myself in the mirror and figure out what was wrong or to really diagnose or to know what demons were, you know what I mean? Or to even use that reference to reference what the anxieties or the issues that were going on in myself. I really use music and writing music to vocalize a lot of that. And so that's kind of where it started. As I got older, I thought I was gonna be a rapper, like a lot of people. And so I recorded videos, you know what I'm saying? And then I kind of got into more of the art of music, in
Mhm.
which I'm still into to a very small degree. kind of mixing and mastering, being an engineer. I still write raps and poems, but I just don't publish them much. I do have a SoundCloud. It's still out there.
Okay.
Feel free to check me out. EJ Monstar on everything. My rap name ENJ the Don. But those are, I haven't recorded a song in since college, so it hasn't been like it's only 6 years. Yeah, I'm low key retired, but I still honestly I still think like I can come out with a poetry book, maybe publish like a poetry book, or maybe come out with a couple songs just for me, because it is fun, to create. I love creating. I love building, and music, childhood passion.
Kind of rounding it back up to how we started the conversation of like doing this thing over and over and over again.
Mhm.
Granted, I'm not doing interviews as often as I was earlier on, but still, like, I'm still getting that practice. I mean, even with our interview so far, it's been like there are moments I call myself. I'm like, I'm a bit rusty. That wasn't my best transitions. I could be better. This. But it's also like I'm enjoying this conversation with my good friend that I haven't seen since high school. So
I was just telling them when we played freshman football together. Come on now.
What's funny is also I went to a Sunset game this last Friday because the girlfriend wanted to go to a high school game. She also wanted to wear a Letterman's jacket, so I was like, "You can wear mine." But yeah, it's just like all these memories, all these like times start flooding back, and I even pointed her. I was like, "You see that 30-yard line on the visitor sideline? That's where I got knocked out for like maybe 2-3 seconds." But this is good times, man. But yeah, it's I'm sure if you wanted to go back, yeah, it might take numerous recordings to like get you to feel comfortable with what you're doing. But dude, all the time in the world. All the time in the world. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's not even. I don't even care. Like I told you, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like I'm good. I think if I did it, I'll do it. I'll give it
Yeah.
my best, and that's what it will be. I did my best. And that's all you can do. Like, so a lot of people I'm trying not to overthink. Don't get me wrong. I'm still human, and I
Yeah.
still fall back on some of my natural traits. But if I do it, I do it. It'll be fun. It'll be dope. I'll put it out there on Facebook and Instagram. Probably just one link. I'm not gonna promote it 1,000 times because I don't want. That's not my lane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Music, but who knows?
Yeah. So
I thought about interviewing before people, but I've never thought I would, have 1,000 interviews. You know what I mean? But I thought there's some real cool people that have some real cool stories. Like, hey, I should interview you. That'd be cool. Or you should be interviewed.
yeah, and that's what the best part about interviewing is. It's just getting to talk with people and getting to find out things about you. Because I do remember from freshman football. It's like I do remember. I think I saw your mom maybe once or twice, but then I was like, yeah, learning the story about your dad. I was like, there you go, new stories I learned, and then finding that connection with the person you're talking to. That's always fun.
Speaking about freshman football, I was at George Green's house.
Oh, really?
I still kick it with George Green. Matter of fact, we lived together for like a year and a half in Arizona.
That's right. I remember him moving down there.
Yeah,
I remember hearing about that.
So all my friends from high school, that's my boy too. Yeah, shout out George Green.
Okay, so I was very curious about this. We're going back to your acting career. You do have an IMDb page. I believe it's called Brothers in Arms. Were you? They say security guard or?
I haven't seen the movie, so it was in post production. It's like right before COVID.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so it was supposed to go direct to DVD, I believe. And how sometimes movies, so it might be out there somewhere in the world on some streaming service. I tried to look it up a couple times. I haven't looked it up in the last 6 months, I don't think. But yeah, I was just a security guard. It was basically an extra role, kind of a feature extra role. Like dressed me up real cool, gave me like these realistic guns and the badges and the whole setup. And I had to grab the off or prisoners, take them through some doors. I had one line. I think it was like "open up" or "security here" or something like "open the gate." You know what I mean? And that's it. From there, and I walked off, and I was, it was really fun. It was really fun. So I got to do that. I was on leverage a bunch of time, a lot of extra work, a lot of feature extra work, a lot of background stuff. Any speaking roles I've ever had were very minimum, a line or two. But I did get some cool auditions. Like in my childhood, I've always wanted to be in acting. As a child, I auditioned for Holes.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, really?
yeah, Disney show. I was on the third callback. The third one.
Wow.
Never, I forgot what role, but I never got that one.
Okay.
Starching Husk. Back in the day, the cop movie. There was a kid in the hospital, and
Uh-huh.
I called back twice for that, but I didn't get that role. And I think there's another movie that I got called back a couple of times for too, but I never got that role. And then I kind of just stopped, did background stuff, and I want to get back into auditioning and see if I have the juice, if I'm good, if I'm not good, if I, some people are weird and awkward on camera. That's just not for them. So let me see. And it's a lot of hours on set. A lot of people don't realize you're on
Yeah.
set for like 14, 16 hours sometimes. It's not just easy. You're really tiring work for your body. So I got to ask myself if that's something I want to do and commit to. Because like as you get older, you have hobbies, but when you start a hobby, it's like, all right, I'm gonna get into it now. Like when
Yeah.
you're young, you're like, I'm gonna start real quick, whatever,
Yeah.
toss it. Now it's like I'm gonna get into it. So
So when you got this role, Brothers in Arms, how did you feel? Well, I know you were like a little background work, but this is, there's some photos I saw on your Instagram, but do you remember what your reaction was when it was officially said that you're gonna play a security guard?
it was cool. It was Actors Access. It's
Mm.
LA. It's this website everyone uses for Hollywood. You just go in there, you audition for roles and stuff. They called me back, and I was happy. I told my mom about it. I went down there, posted on my IG story and everything. I felt they gave me they asked me for my measurements beforehand. They wanted to make sure that the suit was custom to me, and that my beard and everything was how it was when I was coming up. They had a makeup artist there. I sat down, first time having makeup all on my face, and he worked on me for like good 15, 20 minutes. And I was like, dang, I need this much work. And she's like, it's just for the camera. I have to. And it was fun. I felt privileged. I was blessed. Anytime you get an opportunity, that you seek and you get it, it's just a blessing.
I remember. I think it was. So I'm a big superhero fan. So you can't really see from you can see a little bit right there above my head, but I remember there was this they call it DC fandom where a lot of either the old or the new stuff getting released gets announced. So the show that I love called Smallville, they had the two lead actors come on just talk about the show because it was their 20th anniversary. And
Mm.
they said like, "Oh, is there like one person that you're gonna miss the most?" And the guy said, "Actually, I'm gonna miss my makeup artist because you spend a lot of time on that chair. You talk, you get to know
Yeah.
each other." So I was like, that nice note, like not just that someone of that stature to say that, but also like for yourself to have that experience too. That's gotta be
And the makeup artists are usually really cool. Like they're usually down to earth people. Like they just do makeup. You know what I mean? Like at least she
yeah,
was. And my experience of knowing people who do makeup, they're all pretty chill. They're social. Like it's like barbers.
yeah,
You know what I mean? They're talking to you, doing it, getting to know you, like you. And they're natural interviewers or questioners or conversationers. So
yeah. Yeah, I started watching. I think. Oh, what was the one on HBO Max with LeBron James and it's a barbershop type talk show, uninterrupted or something like that.
yep.
Yeah, it was like it was interesting to like just see how they kind of bring that barbershop talk to like the sports world or whatever world they want to bring in, and then just how it'd be so candid. It's like I've never heard LeBron say "fuck" my whole life,
Yeah.
and I heard him say it like 5 times. What the
It's cool though.
hell?
It's cool because I like being around Nike, I got to be around a lot of athletes. And so I got to see them, but in like professional settings. And occasionally you get to see them relax with their boys and have, some conversation. But I thought it was real cool to see everyone else who I, hadn't been around just say fuck. Like
Yeah,
talk like you're talking to your boys. Like I got to see true personalities. You know what I
yeah,
mean? At least it seemed that way. I thought that was real dope from that show.
yeah, yeah. That was fun, and they also talk a lot of topics that end up getting like into like Yahoo News, for example, like when they had Brady on there, and it's like, oh. that you never would have 1,000 years or like in 20 years hear Tom Brady said like, "Oh, you're choosing me over this piece of shit, and then I'm gonna like rip this person apart." I was just like, "Is this competitive Brady? I've never heard this before." And it was
That's
only
the real Brady.
that's the real Brady.
We usually get the media Brady.
hmm
You know what I'm saying? In media, anyone is going to be a media version, but that was kind of like him just talking like to LeBron, like
Yeah.
you know.
It's just LeBron. It's just LeBron. So there was a photo I saw on your Instagram with, because you also did basketball in high school,
Mhm.
with the basketball legend Michael Jordan, and also with your Nike background. How did you get in that scenario? This was back in August of 2014. How did you get to that part? Get to that? How did you meet? How did you get to have a
So
football?
life is all about connections, man, and I have been blessed. I told you earlier, my grandpa, the great George Raveling, he was also he's a Hall of Fame basketball coach.
Okay.
And so he actually coached the dream team. He was an assistant coach with Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And so Michael Jordan wanted to start a camp and move from Chicago to the West Coast. And he was the guy that kind of got that job. And so he was the director of the Michael Jordan basketball flight school for maybe 20 years. And after him, my uncle ran it. So it was a family business. My mom worked there. My mom and my stepdad there. All my cousins used to go down there and we all played. So it was really a kind of a family business ran around the great one himself. And so I was blessed to be in his presence for 2 weeks every summer for almost my whole life growing up. I met his family, his kids, you know what I mean? Good relationships with them, back then at least. And it was fun. I mean, when I think about it, some of the funnest times in my life, just being an innocent young kid, wanted some candy and have fun. Like, you know what I mean? Play basketball and run around camp. And it was an overnight camp. It was really cool. And so those pictures are from those experiences.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid for football camp, Anthony Newman, who's a former Duck player, is all over kind of Duck sports. I just remember going to his like football camp, and then I actually had to talk to him one time because I think I needed my inhaler or something like that, and so he was trying to like help me get my inhaler. And I was just like, now I think back to it, I was like, I talked with Anthony Newman. I got to, yeah, that's a big name in the Oregon area. So I was like, cool. It's fun. It's awesome that you got to have that moment with Michael Jordan of everything, literally everything. Also Space Jam. So
Yeah, and I mean, just through those experiences, I met so many other athletes that would come to camp and I have to be around them and their kids. And I played with a lot of athletes' kids, and now celebrities. I actually got to play with some of them, so it was fun. It was everything back then. It still is.
yeah, it's just kind of a bummer when you think about 2020 and like that generation that's very young and have to deal with this. They're missing out on some of these great camp opportunities. So it's very much a bummer.
These kids are iPhone zombies.
No.
That is what I tell. That's what I tell everyone. I don't even know if they know how to be active. Some do, but
Yeah.
a lot of them have fun in the pandemic doing this.
Yeah.
They needed to go to camp, and we did them a disservice not having them. But guess you have to do it.
Yeah, I mean they missed a chance of potentially getting like free cleats or free shoes or just anything. Because free, when we were younger, free was always fun. Free was
Free
great.
was fun, but even when you could look up, not even the merch was cool when you're younger, but when you get older, it's the experiences that you hold on to and the emotion through them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got a whole bunch of free crap, but hanging out with Michael and you know what I mean, and that experience, and even other athlete camps I got to go to. LeBron camp, you know what I mean? I did LeBron camp in Akron, the first year he did it, and that's when and that was really cool. So, ironically, that camp they asked him if he can beat Kobe 1-on-1, and I was there, like sitting right there.
Really?
Heard that answer, and then that clip blew up, and it was a thing back in Nike did a Kobe versus LeBron with the Muppets and the puppets and all this stuff, and so like I was kind of there in that moment. It's really cool.
Yeah, screw the free stuff. That That's a lifelong memory right there.
Yeah.
There you go, man. So, with your actually, before I ask you about your work, there was another thing I saw in my research on you that I had to ask.
What's up?
Courtship on Maximum Premiere.
Ah, man, my dating show.
Yes. For those that are tuning in, Mr. Eldridge Akins was on a dating show. So, okay, how did it get approached to you to do that, or how did you come across that kind of opportunity?
Um, Applying for things on Backstage. It's a website Actors Access, where you just go and you apply, you have a profile, and I saw opportunity for online show, and I was like, hey, let me click it. Producer was in New York. He reached out to me. Everything was online, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And so I joined the competition. You have to do a talent. And so I had to come up with some type of talent to present to the girl. And it was fun. I did my thing. I won. I never went on my date. She still owes me. She lives in New York, and it was during COVID. So you have those two things going for you. But if I'm ever on the East Coast, I'm gonna call her up for that date. She was a cutie.
Yeah. Okay. So I kind of skimmed through it as far as like I just watched your parts, where just thinking like you, I don't know, like did you have to have that pre-made or is this something you have to do on the spot? Like as far as like when you made the flag, for example, that had her ethnicity. I can't remember what was the flag was in the background, but it was also a photo of her. Did you have to do that on the spot, or were you able to have some prep time to do that?
And so yes, I basically the way it works is you have to present a talent or some type of skill.
Mm-hmm.
And so I basically use my skill, which is hustling. and, and one of the things that I sell right now is custom items, because I manufacture them basically. We have a sublimation machine, and so I can print on various items, and I'm a graphic designer as well. So I did some research about her. I figured out she's an entrepreneur. She's multiple cultures. I think it was Haitian and Puerto Rican, if I can't mistake.
That sounds about right.
I combined those flags together with an image of her in front. And she was a singer, and so I used her quotes for like her song, put it there, and then I put it on an aluminum panel. I made her like a gator mask with her brand or hair brand she had. And I made her something else, and I sent it to her. Yeah. And I made a shirt with her face on it, and I wore that during the competition.
Yes.
And her face on the shirt, it was a bomb picture of her. She looked good. I look good wearing it. How could you?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was just see if anything has come up from that experience. No.
No, we're friends. She's from my friend. Well, she was my friend on Instagram. I don't know if she unfollowed me. She's kind of big time. You know what I'm saying? She's like really. She was in like numerous movies. She's actually an actress. Like she's a singer. She has published songs, and she's like been on the radio and stuff like that. So she's doing everything.
Okay. Well, it's her loss. It's her loss.
Hey, come on.
All right, so EJ, you are currently working with UCLA. I think that anytime you get to be a part of a big school like that, that's got to be extremely this awesome feeling to just know that this big establishment that's been around for endless years is trusting you. What do you do for UCLA, and how did you come across that job opportunity?
UCLA. Shout out to Center X. I work for Center X. It's basically a program, professional development program, where they go after teachers in Los Angeles School District, and they kind of refresh them on different ways to teach. I work in the math department. And so right now it's cognitive guided instructive math is kind of the big thing. I'm just a program coordinator. I'm not writing content or anything like that, which is basically payroll, a lot of Excel stuff, a lot of graphic design with flyers, social media managing, emails back and forth, all the grunt work you need someone to do, ordering supplies, budgets, crap like that. But it is a great program. They're doing a great duty to the communities, inner city of LA. And so it's a pleasure for me to work with them. And they write me a check every 2 weeks. And so like, I can't complain right now. But no, that's not my. It's a great fit, but that's not my passion. It's just a job right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Yeah, and you just had entrepreneur a few times. So for those, I mean, I've been approached by people that are entrepreneurs, and they were trying to get me to, work with them also. Never followed through. So for you, what did it mean to be an entrepreneur? What does it mean?
for me, an entrepreneur is someone who started a business on their own
Mm-hmm.
and who grows and protects and maintains that business or business dealings um, for financial gain. And so that is what I'm trying to do. Right now, I have two LLCs that I'm a part owner with, Blackstreet Management, which we do things, which is the one big umbrella, and we have numerous brands underneath them, DBAs. The biggest one is Hustle Soul. It's kind of my big baby right now. Basically a resale. Right now we're rebranding ourselves as an urban online boutique. Where we do thrift items, so we buy and sell items. We have our own resale fashion items, high-end sneakers, anything and everything collectible, from trading cards to like cars, figurines, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of with that right now. My other business is Harlequin by Design, which I mentioned with you earlier. It's me and my mother. Sublimation business. It started as that, but then we have a vinyl cutter and embroidery machine and screen printing, heat transfers. Now we kind of do everything. So anything personable or any embellishment you want an item, like say you have a show and you wanted your picture on it.
Mm-hmm.
I can do your logo. I can do any business development skills and also as branding. So that's kind of my two big business acronyms right now from entrepreneurship. Yeah, and that's when I say I'm an entrepreneur, that's what that means for me. Those are my two things that I'm working on.
Okay. Okay. And I always joke around when it comes to seeing growth. Like when it comes to, let's say someone I'm training, seeing them go from like not knowing anything to like having these full-fledged conversations with someone else in the company and using all this big terminologies. I'm just like, oh, I'm like a proud parent and my child is all grown up. What is it like? How long? Okay, so first off, which one was the first entrepreneur business you worked with or you started? And what was it like to see? Actually, yeah, first off, which one was the first business that you started?
So one, I didn't do it the right way. As you know, anytime you start something, you make some mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so at first, Hustle Soul was the original business. You got to understand, my mom worked for Nike growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always understood the value of high-end sneakers. Andrew Galligan from Sunset, he kind of really introduced me like, hey, you're wearing $1,000 shoes. You're messing them up. Like, why? And I'm like, $1,000? What are you talking about? Like, my mom just got me these. And I didn't realize she was giving me player edition shoes. She was getting from Nike, like high-end Kobe's and LeBrons, like that I wish I still had to this day. And I'm playing with them at the rec, scraping them up. He's like, bro, I'll give you $500 for them right now. I'm like, I'm literally, I'm broke high school kid. I'm not even thinking about money or work. You know what I mean? I'm just selling newspaper subscriptions to have some weekend money to go to the movies. You know what I mean? And so that really sparked value in collectibles, supply and demand. When there's a high demand for things, and even when it's limited, you should get it because you can always sell it for a way higher value than the retail price. So in college, when I really needed money, that was my go-to. All right, you have a closet full of valuables. Like you don't want to sell your stuff, but you got to pay rent.
Yeah.
And you want to go party this weekend. Like which one are you? If you want to do both, you got to let some stuff go. You know what I mean? So
Priorities.
exactly. So I end up selling stuff. I'm like, man, I can buy stuff too and resell it. Not just shoes, but like clothing. Like there's trading cards that like, and I just kind of got into collectibles that way. And my boy was like, hey, I got some shoes. Like, let's start a business, LLC it. Let's, maybe we can get a loan from it. That was about 3 years ago.
Okay.
All right. And so I say where I messed up because I was always hustling. It was hustle soul, but I was never building. I was literally just trying to make money to pay my bills.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds great because I didn't have a job for about 5 years out of college. I just got employed this year with UCLA. It's my first 9 to 5. A real 9 to 5 where I have benefits and stuff I've ever had in my life. But I still was able to live in LA still able to pay rent, still able to maintain a great lifestyle, travel the world on my own as a full-time entrepreneur. Where I still had little side part-time jobs here and there, don't get me wrong, you know, but no, my bread and butter was, you know, my business. And that's why I feel like that kind of messed me up. Because I was hustling so much and spending at the same time. And so I was never building. Every dollar that came out went out. It went out to, I was clubbing when I got out of college. I was in LA. I was living the lifestyle. You know what I mean? I was going on trips. And so then Harlequin by Design came around. And then I built it. And then I fumbled it. I lost everything. So Etsy, if people don't know, it's one way you can do personalized items. I had an Etsy account. I was making like $2,000, $2,500 a month. You know what I mean? In revenue, not profit, but just bringing that in. And so Christmas time, like 6,000, you know what I'm saying? December, November, finally had it for consistently at least 1,200 minimum a month. I know that's what I was going to get. And then I got very ambitious. I said, I need to do more stickers. I said, I should do every football team, every basketball team, every NFL team, every hockey team. And so I downloaded every logo. I made all the mock-ups for the stickers and I posted them all up. And I did it within like 24 hours. And I was excited. I'm like, I'm grinding. I got 300 new listings up, and that's copyright infringement. You can't sell other people's logos. And I just had no idea. So I'm calling Etsy, like, I made a mistake. And they're like, bro, like, look all these listings you have up. We have to pull your Etsy account. Now you can't sell anymore. I didn't have my own website. I didn't have eBay. Everything was on Etsy. So I lost all that. And so now this year I said, all right, I'm gonna get both of these businesses back. And I'm going to build them website in, marketing, and extend out. I'm going to use my degree. I'm going to do charts. I'm going to get Excel sheets. UCLA, everything I learned from them with HR, payroll, and how to track, I incorporated that into my business. And I started building. And so far, like you said, it's your little baby. And I'm proud. I'm proud to say, you know, I'm at an okay stage. I think this next 6 months will really determine if I can get my marketing to a level where I can, you know, consistently drive revenue on a consistent basis. But as far as operations and building, I have my websites now. You know what I mean? I know Etsy can't knock me down. You know what I mean? And I'm back on Etsy, you know, which is great. But you just learn, man, growth in business, as you know, like you have to be a life learner.
Yeah.
You just have to be.
Yeah, especially when you're, you know, experimenting, you want to see like, will this actually be something I can continue using, or is it something I just have to drop? But you know, you learn from. It's ambitious. You're very ambitious, especially, you know, when it came to just figuring out. Because I also remember now, as you're talking about, I was like, oh, that name sounds familiar. I didn't know that was from you, because their Instagram account, I think it's Instagram or Twitter or something like that. You followed me. I was like, who's this Harlequin by Design?
Yeah, I follow everyone. I follow. I have my other account follow for sure.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, now that I know it's from you genuinely, I was like, okay, now I can make that connection. Now I can actually like follow back and do all the fun stuff. But so then Black Street, how did that one come about? Black Street Management.
So that is Hustle Soul initially. My partner didn't like the name Hustle. He's like, I don't want nothing to do with Hustle in my LLC name. Like, he just didn't like it. So I came up Black Street, and we do business as doing business as Hustle Soul. That's DBA.
Okay. Perfect, man. Okay, so EJ, you are a busy man. You're always around, but you make time to talk to people you haven't connected with in like close to probably 20 years, probably plus 20 years plus. We'll call it that. So before I let you finish out the rest of your Sunday, I do like to finish out my interviews by asking a couple hypothetical questions from this packet of 170. So I picked out a couple for you, kind of close to what I thought would be best for your personality. So the first one,
Okay.
you get one text, no more than 160 characters. We don't have to count it out, but that gets sent to everyone's phone.
Everyone.
Every single person. What does it say?
In the world.
In the whole world. I think it'll get translated from like language to language, but you know,
Of course.
same message.
Off the top of my head, generally speaking, I want to tell everyone they're not alone. that they're loved, and that hopefully they can smile or make someone else smile around them and bring happiness and, strength. I would probably try to do it in some type of cheesy, verbiage, but I would want people, I would try to inspire people and give a message of, everything's okay. Even though because the truth is, a lot of the world is not okay. And we're going to everyone. And I'm assuming, hypothetically, people who don't have phones would have phones. And so they would get the message, you know what I mean?
The hypothetical thought train has continued. Yes, yeah.
But yeah, something like that. Something like, man, something be okay. Encourage them, like motivate them, like, we're all one and God is with us all, whatever God you believe in.
Mm-hmm.
Just, stay true to your principles and prosper, live this life, be happy. Something, honestly, now that I think about it, I mentioned the zero sum earlier to you about the competitive nature. I would tell people that you can give more.
Yeah.
You don't gotta, we're not at war,
Yeah. Yeah.
Something of those lines in 160 words,
I would just say, I want to go something, kind of cliche in a Batman world, just from the Christian Bale Batmans. It's like, oh, darkest before the dawns or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it's very tempting to go that route. I'm going to go that route. I'm going to say, I would just have everyone read and say, it'll get better. Just when we thought it's going to suck, it's going to get better. Everything's okay. Yeah, because I think, you see all those people, all that post on social media, like, oh, you're loved, you do this, you do that, which it's great. But sometimes it's kind of, it's kind of like the same message from different channels. So it's like, why not?
It is. And I hope, hopefully people listen to the message though.
Yeah.
More importantly, listen to it. But yeah, you're right.
So my last hypothetical question to you is, going off your acting career, if your life was made into a movie, which actor would play you? That one's kind of a more like common hypothetical question, but let's have fun with it.
Ooh. Well, I don't know, man. I would really want a good-looking guy.
I feel like a lot of people, they say like, oh yeah,
Way better looking than me. Whoever I can get with a beard, bald, looks good. You can get them going.
we'll have open casting calls. How about that? There.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of any actors off the top of my head.
I mean, that's what that's auditions are for, right? We're gonna start auditioning, and then we'll get this whole thing going.
And all the actors I like are old. I don't know any young actors that would play me. Like they would play my dad. Maybe they're old. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe the younger version of them. Like I love a Will Smith. I like Morris Chestnuts. I like, you know what I'm saying? I like Chris Tucker. I think he's funny. Chris Rock. Something like that.
And there are some there's some African American actors that I could think of, but I can't really put their names. Like I've seen them in a lot of things. I just their actual names I can't.
Yeah, Michael Jordan.
Remember. Yeah. Then Jonathan Majors. So I would say for me, gosh, I don't know either. You know what? I've always I was gonna say Ryan Reynolds because I have a big man crush on him.
Yeah.
EJ, and Eldridge. So Eldridge or EJ, which do you prefer? Because I know you as both.
Everyone calls me EJ.
EJ. Where can the people find you on social media, and where can they check out your website?
Well, if anyone's interested, ejakins.com. You can type that on in, EJAKINS. And then, of course, EJ Monstar on all platforms. I'm everywhere. EJ Monstar.
EJ Monstar.
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, you name it. I might not have nothing posted, but I'm on there.
Check out his modeling photos too. You'll be there.
Yeah, ejakins.com. I have like you said, my IMB, all everything I've been in. I have a resume of all my acting stuff. Some clips, some videos of me doing some feature work, all my modeling and stuff. I'm actually gonna update it to add some services that I offer, that EJ offers, not under any umbrella. Professional development stuff, like and creative design stuff, and photography stuff that I do on the side. Always trying to get that money.
Perfect, man. Thank you so much. And now you have a podcast episode to your name. Granted, it had its some tech things went wrong that I was kind of keeping an eye on, but it is what it is. Your story's going to be out there. Listeners will have a great time. How do you feel now that knowing that you have a podcast episode to your name?
Man, I'm hell appreciative. Thank you 1,000%. I'm a fan. I love your interviewing style. You're killing it. And hopefully you get back into it. I know you're saying you were rusty, but you know, keep scheduling them. You did a very professional job with all that. So I commend you with that. Keep that up too, because a lot of people just send a text or do it via Instagram. But you got my email. You sent me an official invite. All that good stuff. So I like to see that.
Thanks, man. Giant thank you to the guests for coming on and telling their story. And thank you to you, the listener or watcher that made it to the end of the episode. And if you like what you heard or watched and would like more episodes from Keoni Chats, the show can be found on all podcast platforms and YouTube. If you'd like to stay in the loop in terms of episode releases, again, check us out on KC Media 13 on both Instagram and Twitter, and then Conlo K Media on Facebook. If you'd like to be a guest, I'd love to hear your story. Email me at kcmedia13@yahoo.com. And until the next time, everyone, please take care.